What's going on, everybody? My name is Mezariah. I'm back with another video. Before we start this video, please like and subscribe to this video. Subscribe to my channel. I said like and subscribe to my video. Subscribe to my channel. Like my video, please. Interact with the video, comment, share it, do whatever you need to do to grow this channel, to help grow this channel. Last video I said I was going to talk about the spiritual warfare that I had to go through with losing my dad, while I buried my dad, when I buried my dad. And I don't think I'm going to do that. I'm going to elaborate on the semen retention video that I did like a week ago, probably a little more than a week ago, because I want to tighten up some loose ends. I don't want to just leave people hanging. I want to get into the specifics of the semen retention and the journey, because that is very important for men. And so this video is going to be about me just explaining that. So the specifics, where do I even begin? First, I want to let people know that everything I do is on the foundation of Christ. Everything I do is Christ-centered, because that's how I am able to perform something like semen retention. Before we go anywhere with this video, you have to have a prayer life. You have to be able to talk and speak to God and to hear from Him, and to, well, I don't know what that was, but you have to be able to know your relationship with Christ, right? You got to know your word. You got to get studied up on your word, the Bible, so you can get filled with God's presence, so you can know when God is speaking to you. And as you do that, you'll be able to breeze through this journey. I'm so serious. This is such a beautiful journey of transitioning from a person that may be in sexual sin to a person that is free from sexual sin. It's not easy. It's not easy, but it can be with Christ. It can be with God. So, yes, that is one of the main things. Praying. You have to talk. You have to fast. And usually a sexual spirit, I want to get into that. A sexual spirit, a demonic spirit, a lustful spirit. You want to get familiar with fasting, because the more you fast, the more you will hear from God, and the more you will be able to fight the unknown world, the unseen things that are making you lustful, that are making you insane, that are making you psychotic, or whatever spirit you're dealing with. But in this case, we're talking about lust. That is one those three things: semen retention, prayer, and fasting will take you to another level. So all you have to do is start. All you got to do is start semen retention. And once you start that, you want to it depends on your journey, but I would say start praying first. But you want to pray, try semen retention, at least try. If you're nowhere near getting close to like even a week or 2 weeks, pray first, then try semen retention, and try fasting, and just start. And once you start from there, you'll, within a year's time, you can be an expert if you're consistent, if you're every day talking to God, trying to see how far you can go. And they seem hard, because to a person that doesn't have a prayer life, that doesn't know anything about sexual discipline, and especially fasting, going without food, that is one of the crucial things. Because when you're fasting and you're not familiar with the things of the Bible, and you don't really have a relationship with Christ, fasting can be pretty difficult, because you don't really understand the reason behind it, and you don't understand why you're really doing it and what it does. Fasting essentially gets you closer to God. It gets you closer to the spiritual understanding of things, and it's not in vain. A lot of people think, well, what am I going to do by starving myself? You're not starving yourself. You're fighting your flesh. You're you're filling yourself with God to continue to walk in a way that you won't need these physical things. Not just food, but fasting. It makes you not want certain carnality. Well, I say carnal. Certain things that are carnal, that are that put a lust in us. You know what I mean? That put us in a state of lust. And fasting, as you do it more and more, it eradicates that feeling of lust for anything. And once you start doing those things, I'm telling you, you're gonna feel amazing. You're gonna feel so like out of this world, because you'll start dreaming. You may start having visions. You may start hearing God audibly. The God, when you are free from sexual sin, God will dwell more in your presence more and more. See, when you're in sexual sin, you'll feel God in spurts. And it's like you kind of yearn for that feeling, because you're like, I felt this feeling and I don't know what it was. And it just felt so good. And I remember going through that same thing when I was in sexual sin. I was constantly doing things to my body, and I would feel this feeling. I didn't know it was the Holy Spirit. And I would yearn for that feeling, like, God, how do I get that feeling back? How do I get that feeling back? But you have to constantly work towards fighting your flesh to get that feeling. And now every day I have that feeling. I can hear God. I feel God. I don't feel depressed. I don't feel tired. I don't feel exhausted and overwhelmed all the time. I mean, it may come from time to time, but it's not a constant feeling. You know, a lot of us looking for a constant happiness, and that's what it gives you when you are willing to work on yourself, free yourself from certain bondages like sexual sin. You are you're putting yourself in a position to experience these things, these great things. So the specifics, let's get into what happens when you are doing semen retention, right? Because you know, I had a commenter on my last video. He was seemingly upset about, you know, me telling people that you can do semen retention for a very long time, and he wanted to point out the dangers of semen retention. And I told him that this is those are words for the unfaithful. Those are words for people that don't believe. And he got upset. But um when you are doing semen retention, right, you can easily discourage yourself. You can discourage yourself so easily, because what happens is when you hold your semen in for a long time, right? Let's say a month or 40 days, right? And you strain something. Say you're on the toilet and you're straining. Your semen can somehow come out of your body, out of your penis, because you're straining that part of your body to release, and in turn that your semen comes out. So that can be discouraging, because one will look at that and they'll say, well, I'm no longer on semen retention because the semen just came out of me. And then they'll probably put that on his, that, well, I can go and masturbate and I can, you know, go back into sexual sin because I saw semen come out of me. So now I'm no longer on semen retention. They gaslight themselves into thinking that they performed a sexual act on themselves, and that's what I did. I know it sounds crazy, but that's exactly what I did. When I in the beginning of my journey, when I first saw semen come out of me, I didn't know it can be strained out of me. I did not know that, because I was so used to masturbating that if I strained, nothing would come out of me. But now that I'm full of my semen, it's bound to come out without you willingly doing anything. So it's bound to come out. And I made myself believe that if I If I see that happen, then that means I'm no longer on semen retention. Then I got to start all over. That is not the truth. Sorry, y'all, my battery died. So where were we? We were talking about um, not gaslighting yourself when you see your semen inside of you come out. When you are doing strenuous things on the body and you are performing semen retention and you see your semen come out and you didn't ejaculate, you didn't force your semen out, you didn't have casual sex or anything like that. Do not allow your brain to manipulate you into thinking that you have to start over because you saw your semen. Move forward with tunnel vision and let it go. Let it go, because some of the mistakes that I had back in 2019 was I was like on my 40th day, and I think I broke it sometime after, but I saw my semen retention and it made me want to. That's how I saw my semen. I saw my semen come out of my body, and I didn't do anything for that to come out. And it made me want to get back into sexual sin. It made me want to masturbate because I guess I had grown a comfortability with seeing my semen every time I masturbated, and I it kind of created a little lust in me because it made me want to just do it again. And what I'm saying is, don't let that be an excuse to masturbate or to have casual sex with anyone, because you'll say to yourself, "Well, I saw the semen come out. I'm no longer on semen retention, and now I have the right to break it." Don't do that. Don't do that. Just keep going, and keep going, because what it is hard to like break free from those sexual desires, and that's why fasting is so important. Fasting, if you pray, semen retention, and fasting is a hard one for people that don't have a foundation on Christ, that don't really know Christ, or that just find it hard to fast. It can be difficult, and because not because it's you just going without food, but because you're wondering what is the point of starving myself to to be able to understand spiritual things. And that's what you're doing. You're getting closer to God when you fast, and he basically you're killing your flesh. You're saying to your flesh, I want this, but I know I shouldn't have this. And this is for moments at a time. So you may fast for 12 hours or for a whole day, and you're saying to yourself, I don't need this food. I can go one day without food to show God that I need him to get through, to be alive, to stay alive, to keep going. And that's when God will start speaking to you in different ways, and maybe small ways, but that's his language. Fasting is God's language. That's what he does. That's what he wants you to do. That's what he did when he was on earth. And I um I'm promoting that the most because a lot of people try to do semen retention without any other works. They see, and that's the thing, there are works behind semen retention. You have to have a relationship with Christ. You got to pray. You got to fast. And another one, you got to have faith. And you have to, I would recommend giving to the poor, because that is one of the, uh, that's a act that it really doesn't have anything to do with semen retention, but it keeps you disciplined, because what semen retention does, it gives you another level of faith to be able to help people. You know what I mean? It gives you another level of faith that helps you perceive things differently. So these are all formulas that God gives us to help us on our journey, to keep us from these spiritual attacks. When you For example, you may have a witch that may be doing marine kingdom witchcraft on you, which causes you to lust, and you giving to the poor will block those attacks from happening. It will block those attacks from harming you, from penetrating your spirit. You know what I mean? So when you fast regularly, when you pray regularly, when you give to the poor regularly, when you talk to God regularly, you will see the effects. It seems like a lot, but it's not. So semen retention, but aside from Christ, is at the top of all of those things. Well, I'll say it's not really. It's really not, because prayer is right under Christ to me. Prayer, then fasting, and then semen retention. Honestly, right. So what am I talking about? So semen retention is at the bottom of all of those things, because these are the workings before you get to semen retention. If you trying to do semen retention on your own without any of those things, you're gonna find it very difficult. See, you can probably go a month or two without praying or doing whatever. I can't speak for everybody, like I said in my last video, but eventually you're gonna fall, because you need a spiritual guidance for you to perform and to go a long ways without having strong sexual desires. You see what I'm saying? And um so the semen retention is like the prize almost. You do all of this work, and now you're able to sexually discipline yourself, which then brings and attracts good things to you. You see, when you flee sexual sin, you are fleeing from not just the sin, but you're fleeing from the attacks and the things that come with it. When I was younger, I wish I would have known to not do certain things. I didn't know that uh, things like masturbation opened up portals to my life as a kid, and it caused me to be attacked through other people. Sex is ritualistic in itself, so it opens up portals for you to be attacked by different demons that work through other people. So for a long time, I just had all of these different people come into my life, disrespect me, harm me spiritually, or verbally abuse me, or say whatever they want, or do whatever they want to me because they didn't respect me, or anything, because I opened that door. Now, some will say, as a kid, I was just a kid, but as you get older, God will teach you how to take accountability. He will, show you, and that's the important part. That's the accountability will get you to a place of semen retention, because you're able to see where you went wrong, and now you're willing to correct it. you know and you're going to fall, you're going to get up, you're going to fall, you're going to get up, you're going to fall, you're going to get up. But the whole point is to keep going. In my last video, I told y'all, from 2019 to 2023, top of 2023, I got up, I fell, I got up, I fell. But the thing was, I intentionally got up every time I fell. I didn't have to um, put up too much of a fight to get back up. Even though I was so mad at myself every time I fell, I was like, all right, I got this. I'm gonna keep getting back up. I didn't let up. I didn't let up. I kept going. And God is looking at you to see your endurance, to see how far you're willing to keep at it. And then, like I said, one night, one day, it'll click in your brain, and everything will come together, because that is, in a sense, God meeting you halfway. Even though you're falling and you're falling and you're falling, but you're getting back up, that you're meeting God halfway by doing that. And God will make that covenant with you, and He will literally keep you from sexual sin. That the power of Christ is real. The power of Christ is real. And he will give you that. And that's a gift. That's a blessing, to be able to retain for a very long time, and eternally, for even possibly for the rest of your life. But everything is spiritual. Everything is spiritual. You have to know that everything is spiritual. If you don't understand that, then you're going to keep trying to find a carnal solution to why you may not be able to do semen retention. You know, you have to attack things from the spirit. If you don't know how to pray, learn how to pray. If you don't know how to fast, learn how to fast. If you don't know how to talk to God, talk to God. There's no standard way of doing these things. A lot of people want to seem so professional online, and they make people feel like it's so complex to do a lot of these things, but it's really not. It's not. You just have to go about it and learn and experience your life. You have to be so strong to say to yourself that, you know, I have a mind of my own. I can do this. I know I'm getting to know Christ. I know Christ. I've known Christ for a long time, and now I have to act and get right with the Most High, and He will see you. He will see you, and He will show you that He is watching you. He will give you clues here and there as He is watching you, as He is monitoring how you move and what you are, doing with your body, especially when it comes to your body. Just any sexual sin, He is looking at that, because that is a beast to overcome. That is not an easy thing to overcome. Sex is so easy to fall into, as people with all this power and money, they have a certain type of lust. They don't just lust for sex. Well, for money, they lust for sex as well, for sexual things, because they have accomplished so much. They got into a level of power and authority that they are used to that now. So now they are looking for other things to satisfy their flesh, because that power and authority already satisfy their flesh. And now they're looking for somewhere else to release their pleasures. So it becomes more deviant now. And vice versa. People that start out as sexually deviant, they want that power and authority, and they want to satisfy their flesh in a different type of way. So it becomes this crazy cycle that you have to break. You know, lust is connected to so many different spirit. The spirit of lust is connected to all these different lusts. Is different categories of lust that, all kind of blend together, and they have the same mission. You know, they're here to drain you, here to kill your destiny. Lust is the number one destiny killer. So when you reach a level of semen retention, when you're doing it continuously and continuously working at it, and you are successful at it, you are automatically walking in your life's purpose by being sexually pure, by evading sexual sin, by fleeing sexual sin. You are already walking in part of your destiny, because you are following a huge principle of Christ. And part of being reborn, right, is a part of the semen retention. It's so interesting, because when you are reborn, you are sexually pure. Babies and kids typically don't know about sex or anything sexual. And when you are doing something like semen retention, you're sexually pure. And when you're reborn, you're childlike. And God says you cannot enter the kingdom unless you become a child again. And that is the genius behind it, of it all, because literally spiritually reborn, He wants you to be spiritually reborn and to be spiritually a child again, to have that innocence and that faith as a child. That is insane. So if you're doing something like semen retention and you're doing good, this is the process of being reborn. This is the process, and you have to understand that this is a it's not a short process. It can take years for you to walk in your deliverance, for you to be reborn again. That's the whole point. You have to be reborn, and you have to see Christ. You have to see a Christ in a different light. the word of God in a different light, God in a different light, and that's what happens. You get access to the things that are spiritual. You get access to the spiritual realm. You get a new perspective of what everything really means in life, and then essentially what it shows you is that we know nothing. We thought we knew everything. We don't know nothing. And semen retention, it goes back to me talking about semen retention, but it shows you a level of knowledge. It gives you it allows you to tap into a level of knowledge. This is the one of the main prizes: being free from sexual immorality, being free from sexual sin, because it allows you to tap in to so many different avenues in the spirit world, and you will be aligned with your life's purpose, and things will come to you. You'll get revealed to certain things, and it's real. It's real. It's not a joke. But that's all, guys. I just wanted to share that with y'all, the specifics and how things go during your journey with semen retention, how things should go, and how you should approach it. And I just wanted to, add from the last video that I made. So I'm done with this video. Like my video, comment, subscribe. Let me know if you are struggling with semen retention. Show me your story. Tell me your story. And I want to let y'all know that this is not a religious channel, y'all. I want y'all to be comfortable, and I want to say that lightly too, because I don't want to be too comfortable where it's like y'all don't have no regard for anything. But I want I don't want to come off as the typical person that looks holy but lives a life of secret sin or secret whatever. I'm being transparent as possible, so you have a chance to fight for your soul, fight for the kingdom. God is giving you people, just like He gave me people to listen to watch, to learn from, and it's so many like things that he's got me doing to help people. So this is what I'm doing, and I just want y'all to take from whatever I'm doing and apply it to y'all lives. But I'm out, and I'll be back with another video. And I don't know what the last video is going to be, the next video is going to be about, but whatever God wants me to talk about, I'll try my best to talk about. And I'm out.